This year, I've been paying myself about $10,000 a month salary.
So you went from 20 a year to
20
10
a year
month.
to 10 a month. And the business has money in the bank. Like, I look at the accounts, I'm like, where'd all this money come from? And the only thing to equate is SynkedUP, because I wasn't charging enough. I wasn't recouping my cost. I was essentially kind of working for free.
So essentially you had all these other expenses, insurances, marketing, taxes, all these other expenses that you weren't fully recovering like you should have. And so you paid $5,000 to get SynkedUP, and you not only recovered that $5,000 of SynkedUP, but all the other stuff you were not recovering and righted the ship.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cost of Doing Business show. Today I'm here with Don Fouce from Indiana, and we are live here from the H&A Equip Expo in Louisville, Kentucky, and been having a busy morning here at the booth.
That sure has. It has non-stop.
I told poor Don to be here first thing in the morning to do a podcast, and it is now noon, and we're finally sitting down to do it.
You had me talking for 2 hours to the clients. So he has me working, that's what it is.
Well, thanks for being here.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So let's kick it off. Give me a bit of a backstory as to how you got in the industry and what your company looks like.
So I moved back down to Florida back in 2013. That's where it all started for me.
Okay.
I worked for a local municipality company installing water mains and stuff. So we'd go through, down in Florida, everyone has nice landscaping, but we'd go through, rip everything out, and we have to put it right back together. So that right there just intrigued me right off the bat, just the rebuilding process and stuff. And then fast forward to 2017, we wanted to buy land. So we moved back home in Indiana, bought 22 acres of land, which now I call my test facility for all my new hires. I mean, then after that, I mean, I was working, and then kind of COVID happened and we got laid off, and they were like, stay home. And I'm like, I can't just stay home. So I started mowing on the side. And then after a year of mowing, I'm like, I only made $10,000, and I really don't like to mow. Like, I don't like to mow that much. So I'm like, why don't I go after something I do like to do? Like, let's go, I want to build. I like to build stuff. I start to reminisce like back when I was in Florida doing paver driveways and retaining walls. So I'm like, I'm going for it. So that winter, I said, no more mowing. Messaged all my clients. I said, I'll refer you to a new mow guy, but we're done. And then the next year, went all in landscaping, hardscaping. Didn't really get much hardscaping the second year, but I was also still part-time. I was part-time until about March, and then I just jumped ship. One main factor that made me jump ship was we built a brand new house. The house flooded 2 months in, and the contractor didn't really stand up for it. So I'm like, that right there is like, all right, contractors have a bad taste in their mouth. I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be there to help people out. So I feel like it's my obligation to help people get high quality landscaping. Like, I just don't want to be a fly-by-night guy. We want to be here long term. So we're huge in our community. We do a lot. We donate money to the high school for all the athletics, because growing up poor, that was the only way I got to play sports, was people donating money. So that's huge to me, giving back. So it's not all about making money. It's nice to make money because now I can give it back to people that need it more than me.
And you get meaning and purpose in return.
Oh yeah, that meaning means more than the money.
Yeah.
I mean, the money comes and goes a lot. I mean, it's super fast, but when you actually can put meaning behind it and get a feeling out of it, it means something.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to get excited buying like new pieces of equipment or trucks, but like that really doesn't excite me anymore. What excites me now is building a team and being able to grow them personally. Like, I asked them, like, what are your goals? Like my main guy, his goal is he wants to be debt free in 2 years. And I said, okay, well, let's sit down and let's talk about it. How much you owe? And he's like, well, it's only like I owe $15,000. I'm like, well, let me help you get there. I'm like, so now I let him upsell all the work he wants. I do cash commission. So just pure incentives. So they don't have to go out and sell everyone, but they know if they want to make extra money, go out.
That's huge. We did that at Tussie Landscaping, and they paid 5% on any water features, 2% on anything else. And my biggest year, I sold over 300 grand.
Man,
in
see,
commissions.
that's huge.
I was a foreman. I was the one doing the job. I was not the salesperson. I was literally on the foreman. We come in there to do a patio or whatever. I'm like, hey, you want to do some lighting? Hey, you come in and do a patio. Hey, you want to do a water feature over here in the corner? You know.
Oh yeah.
And I was salesperson number 2.
See, that's how my whole team be. I want.
Yeah.
I mean, I told them I can't do it myself, so we have to work as a team, and we have to spread out, and we have to.
And you know what the first thing is I would do when I got a new job?
What's that?
I would open the SynkedUP app, and I would look for any work areas that were crossed out, marked on hold. And I'd be like, bingo, I'm going to get them. And maybe they cut the lighting because we'll save some money.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I saw you didn't go for that lighting, because once you're in there and they start seeing it come together, they're like, oh, this is so awesome,
See, that was the hardest part, is just like gaining trust. So I did a lot of free work just to show people like, hey, this is what we do. I was like, and they're like, a lot of people say, oh, you've never done landscaping in your life. You're like, you're right. My background comes from construction, so dense grade, open grade, compaction, bed and water mains in the ground. That stuff has to be set per spec. So I'm like, what can be so hard about a freaking retaining wall that I've built before? I mean, everything we do, we pull the specs on it. I lose a lot of jobs because people, they don't want to pay us to build it properly. I was like, I can't put my name on it. Like, we're going to be the first people you call when something goes wrong. And that, I rather just pay the guys to sit at the shop and play cards than to work for free.
Yep.
So.
Yep, 100%. So, real quick, how many guys do you have now?
I have 1 full-time guy, and I have 3 part-time guys.
Okay.
And
what revenue range are you in?
We're looking at about 600 plus thousand.
That's pretty good for that.
We're
that
on
team.
year 3.
You're on year 3.
Year 3.
And what was the thing where, when you first found out about SynkedUP, like what was the thing that piqued your interest?
So Evan from Pride Hardscape, I met him out in Aqualand, so I got to spend about a week with him, so I got to know him and like gain his trust and stuff. He never once said anything about business. I mean, it's just all personal, just getting to know people, building rapport. And then we were just talking. I actually overheard him talking about like budgeting and stuff, and I went over there and was like, hey, what you got going on? He's like, oh yeah, you gotta check this out. Like, this is all our job costing. So he showed me on his phone, like, this is where we're at by the day. I know if I made money that day or if we lost money. I know if we're gonna trend over budget or under budget. So if you're going over budget, put the whole job on pause. Now let's go to the homeowner. Where did this extra cost come from? Was it we didn't calculate for base material, like extra over dig, or are we over on man hours or material? I mean, what's going on? So now you can have these difficult conversations during the project, not at the end. They just don't get a big bill at the end, like, oh, well, this isn't what we agreed on. Nope, we're all up front. We know the numbers throughout the thing, and after joining SynkedUP, we're able to actually come in under budget because now we're getting pretty lean and mean. So I'm able to really narrow down. We were able to cut out a lot of extra costs. I mean, versus pen and paper, calling quotes in and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, but that was the deciding factor for me, is just going out to Aqualand, putting myself in a whole new atmosphere, and just meeting people.
That's awesome.
So and then I ran into you.
Oh, that's
so I was already on the fence.
Yeah.
So you pushed me over the edge, and I said, "What's $5,000 if you're already losing money? What's $5,000 more?"
Yeah.
But the amount of money I made back was.
So were you afraid to spend that $5,000?
I was looking at it as like, all right, this is my personal money.
Right.
And then I started thinking, no, it's a business. I need to separate myself from the business, and because my goal is I want the business to be a business. I want to be able to step away when I want to.
Yeah, one of the key things you have to do as a business owner is you have to separate, you have to think of yourself and your business as 2 separate entities.
Yep.
Like the business has to make money and you have to make money.
See, that was the thing. I wasn't thinking like that. I was just thinking, okay, I'm going to pay myself what's left at the end of the year, which you can't do because there's nothing cheap about landscaping, hardscaping. I mean,
and what's left at the end of the year should be the business's profit. You should be paying yourself a salary.
Yep.
And the business should still make a profit after paying you a salary.
So after year 2, what was left at the year was just to pay. No, it was to pay taxes.
Wow.
So I barely made $20,000. And I'm like,
for your whole year.
For my whole year. So now, this year.
So there you are in that situation. You're like, you want $5,000 for the software for the year, or $400 a month, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's where your head was, right?
Yeah, I was thinking $5,000 out of my 20. That's gonna bleed me dry. I'm like, I'm just doing the math, house payment, all that, family, wife, kid. So, but then I just stepped back. Screw the business, just step back. I'm an employee. How much would it cost for me to replace myself? How much would it cost to replace myself? And then I start thinking about the numbers and stuff, and just really just start thinking about where I'm at, where I want to be. And I'm like, no, I'm priority, not the business. It's me. I need to take care of my family first. And the only way to do that is to pay myself first, then the business. Whatever's left over is the money for the business to reinvest.
What's on? Be right back.
So that's been huge.
Yeah. So the, hey Kyle, the whole process that was happening there in your head, like what, and you just described what happened where you're like, no, I gotta take care of myself first. I know there's a leap of faith because you're like, somebody told me this works, or SynkedUP told me this works. Throw the money out there and you go do it. What happened next?
Oh, we exploded. We exploded. So first year, 10 grand.
Because you bought a tote rotator?
No, not yet. I was out there demoing one. That thing's sick. Hey, I got a lot of compliments. They're like, man, you know how to run that thing. I'm like, yeah, I do, but my goal is to get my team to run it like me.
There you go.
I don't want to be on there. That's not my job.
That's right.
I'm just a trainer.
That's right.
So, but re-ask your question, sorry?
I was just saying, like, what happened next after you?
Oh,
after
yeah.
you took the leap?
So now I just went all in. I mean, that's all business is just taking a bunch of calculated risks, a bunch of leap of faith. The hardest one is starting the business. So I'm like, it can't be any harder than that. I'm already in it. So let's just keep diving deeper. But now, this year, I've been paying myself about $10,000 a month salary.
So you went from 20 a year to
20
10
a year
a month.
to 10 a month. And the business has money in the bank.
After that,
like I look at the accounts, I'm like, where'd all this money come from? And the only thing to equate is SynkedUP, because I wasn't charging enough. I wasn't recouping my cost. I was essentially kind of working for free. So
essentially, you had all these other expenses: insurances, marketing, taxes, all these other expenses that you weren't fully recovering, like you should have. And so you paid $5,000 to get SynkedUP, and you not only recovered that $5,000 in SynkedUP, but all the other stuff you were not recovering.
Yeah.
And righted the ship.
Yeah. Oh, it more than right. I'd say about $50,000 righted the ship.
Wow.
So what is that? 10x?
Yeah.
10x.
Not that I like the 10x stuff.
No,
like that's.
I'm not a 10x person. I like to. I mean.
But that's facts. You know?
It is facts, and it's hard to deny it.
Yeah.
But another nice thing is now, since we know our numbers, we're starting to see trends.
Yep.
Now we can take all these numbers, give it to the accountant, give it to the banker, say this is where we want to go, this is what we got. The numbers don't lie. I don't even have to say anything. I just give them it, say this is what I want to go for. Now they can say, all right, this is how much it's going to cost us. So now we take that big number and we work backwards to where we are now. So we're looking out in the future to where we want to be. Now we're going to pull it back to us. So that's how we look at it.
And what I'm assuming what you mean when you say you look in the future and you pull it back to us is you look in the future like, I want to buy a tote rotator someday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull that back and put it in my budget right now.
Yep, right now.
And basically go, now I'm charging, now I'm pretending on my finances, on my numbers, as if I already had that expense.
Yep.
And then when I continue to sell work, there's my permission to go buy that thing because I'm generating the cash to buy it.
Oh yeah, so like this year, I hired my first full-time employee because he was in the budget. I've been budgeting all year for a new dump truck. That's in the works too. That is thinking small. We've been thinking actually bigger than that. We're thinking actually a shop, a central shop inside our big like area
Wow.
where we're gonna open up a nursery. I actually, since I know where I'm at on the numbers and how much we got, I actually reached out to a local nursery to buy him out, and he wasn't willing to, so I was like, well, I hate to tell you this, but now I just have to compete with you.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
So it's nice knowing what you want to do, where you want to go. I hear a lot of people say, steer the ship.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Yeah, instead of responding to crises and urgent matters.
Oh yeah, we're on top of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, stuff arises every day where unexpected costs, but if you have the money sitting around, you don't even have to think twice.
Pay the unexpected costs and then turn around and put it in the budget
Yep.
for next year.
That's one thing I remember is to update your budget as you go.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you over budget and you can actually recalculate some costs.
Yeah.
Or fuel goes up and you didn't allot for X amount of dollars, or you get a new piece of equipment. Okay, now we got more insurance. Now we need another guy to run the truck. Now we need more fuel. So
Just tweak all those numbers, and,
Yep.
and then your man-hour rate and your pricing on your next quote that you're sending out tonight is dialed in.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes and you're updated, ready to go.
That's awesome.
So
Man, like I tell you, like just from my standpoint, your story is a 10 out of 10. Like it's exactly why I do this.
why you went?
This is why, like I was at the contractor summit we had earlier this year, I was sharing the SynkedUP vision, and I spent all summer, rhetorically speaking, going off in the mountains, like what are we really trying to do? And what I landed on was our aim in this world is to end entrepreneurial poverty for blue-collar contractors
Oh,
and
yeah.
their teams. And
Well, that's huge for me because I grew up, everyone in my family owned a business, but no one ever made money.
Yeah.
My grandpa, he just passed away not too long ago, but he worked until he was like 90 years old by himself, and I'm like, now I'm visualizing me as him. How do I get out of that predicament?
Yeah.
Like how do I change that?
Yeah.
And
when you live in that predicament where you're barely surviving, what it does is it robs kids from their mom and dad. Like, cause you got a payment to make. Like, you're hustling, you're missing dinner, you're
Yep.
doing whatever it takes.
time and money, and time is more valuable than money.
Exactly.
You cannot get it back, and
You can replace money, but you can never replace time.
that is, you
And-
can gain some of your time back by getting
You can
synced
buy
up.
it back.
Yeah,
you can
buy it back. But like,
Speaking of which, did you ever see that blue book that I posted in my stories once in a while, to buy back your time?
oh yeah,
Have you ever read it?
is that?
Dan Martell?
Yep, I did an audiobook on that
You
one.
did. Dude, that is one of the best books I've ever read. In terms, when I say that, what I mean is it changed the way I think and the way I work.
Well, that's it. I
You
mean,
know?
it's you can achieve whatever you want. It's just you got to change your perspective.
Yeah. But, that whole thing of ending entrepreneurial poverty is, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to see people thriving, not just surviving. I want to see mommy and daddy be home with the kids. I want to,
Oh, yeah.
That's, it's really discouraging when you work 30 years of your life and you have nothing to show for it.
See, that would eat me up inside.
Yeah.
Because like the first year was the hardest because working a full-time job and the landscape or mowing, like there was just no time. But now, like as we continue to grow, the more time I have, like now, like once I clock out at the end of the day, that's it. I'll answer my phones tomorrow morning, but I don't have to sit behind a desk all night unless I really want to.
What would you say, aside from the finances and getting the numbers right on your quotes and all of that, what would you say was the biggest plus from SynkedUP for you or for your company?
It just has to be time.
Okay.
Like the amount of time it saves me to turn around a quote. It used to take me sometimes 2 weeks to do a quote because I got to call all these places to get pricing, and sometimes they don't send them. You're just left hanging. So now you're guessing because now you want to get the job. So that alone, the time, I mean, I could do easily a $100,000 quote in 15 minutes and feel confident I'm gonna make money.
That's amazing.
But not only that, now I don't have to sit up all night trying to do a quote. I can spend time with my family instead. So the time, just the buyback time with family has done it for me.
Dude.
So I'm a believer.
That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, yeah, because you cannot buy back your time, like you said.
Yeah, and because that's going to make a real impact in people's lives. So when you can not the business doesn't own you. You own the business.
Exactly.
And all that. So
yeah.
I'm just so jazzed about. I mean, your story is exactly. Before you even signed up, like my vision was this. This is what I want. And I remember the moment we had that conversation in Aqualand. I remember you signing up.
I know.
And now to be, 8 months later?
Yeah, 8 months, and I'm already excited for the future now. I'm like, all right, we did this in 8 months. What can we do in like 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Like at that point, I would just be a boss at that point. Just make sure, I'm trying to get guys in place where they can replace me.
Yeah.
That way I can get out of the field.
See, so much of successfully running a business is getting yourself out of the owner-operator hamster wheel. Like, like doing brain surgery on what's in your head and getting it out into systems and processes so that other people can do it.
That's what I did all winter long, is just systems, processes, procedures. So I got to think like, all right, if something happened to me, and you're brand new, what do you do? So this year we grew so fast, I had to get a business consultant to help me. And that was one thing. He's like, you're doing too much yourself. Put guys in your place and just step back. They either sink or swim, but at least you know. He's like, stuff's gonna get messed up. Anything can be fixed. I mean, a broken paver. Or even save broken ones and save them for the shop, and then rain day, play in the shop and just turn water into wine.
Well, a couple questions I always like to ask on the podcast is, what was the most difficult challenge you've ever overcome?
In my life? Just jumping in and going full time for the business. I mean, I literally thought I was going to throw up. I thought I was going to die. Like it was probably the anxiety it took to do it, and then after doing it, you're like, that was it? That was literally it? But now it's like, you just have to go all in. Once you're in, you can't just stop giving up. You got to just keep diving deep, because the grind doesn't stop. The work isn't going to sell itself. So now you really just have to go all in. That's the only way to make it work. So.
And what did you do during that challenge? What's something that someone else that's in that spot now could take away as, what did you do to get over that hump?
I would just say, just take a step back, get out of the moment, just get away from those feelings, just take a step back, maybe even take some time off from the business and your full-time job, and just think about it. Find a mentor and talk about it. Make sure, I mean, you got to do some calculated risk, but at a certain point, you know it's time. You know your full-time job is holding you up for your part-time job. It's just making that leap of faith, but you have to make that leap of faith, because that's all business is. It's making a bunch of more leap of faiths. I mean, it doesn't stop. The first one is definitely the hardest, but now you learn from it.
It's almost like a muscle that you end up exercising, and it starts becoming easier in that way.
You don't even think about it. You just make sure you know the budget. You know everything needs to be where it's at, and then you just go for it.
What to kind of build on that, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Take yourself out of the business, treat yourself as an employee, and make time for your family. I mean, the money comes and goes. You can start another business. If it fails, you can start another business. So focus on your family first. Spend time with them while you can.
You have kids?
I have one son. So
judging off your answer, I would have guessed.
So that, for me, it's just spending your time wisely.
I'm right there with you.
Because it is priceless, because once you're gone, you're gone. So live it to your fullest.
Well, Donnie, where can people find you online?
You can find us at Fouce Landscaping, social media, that is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, pretty much everything, all at Fouce Landscaping.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for it.
And thanks for being willing to just share your story.
Oh yeah.
I know sometimes that's super personal, and it's hard to admit the mistakes you made. And
that's the thing, is like listening to like a lot of the big guys on social media, their stories and where they came from, that helped motivate me to write my own story.
This is your way of giving back.
Yeah. So and that's I feel like that's my duty in this world, is just give back. I mean, knowledge is free, and I don't see why we have to charge it. Why does everyone have to be competitive? I mean, you could be competitive, but like let's elevate everyone together, especially our green industry. Where I'm not trying to steal your work. Don't worry about that, because there's plenty of work there.
Yep.
And it's an art form, so your work speaks for itself. So
exactly.
and there's different levels.
Yep.
I'm not on that guy's level, but I'm not down there.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for my clients that I have now back when I started. So in the future, 5-10 years from now, we won't even be on the same level. We'll be higher, so we'll have higher standards, higher clients. So yeah, there's no such thing as stealing work. So
it's the abundance mindset.
yeah, but I work with a lot of local people, a lot of high schoolers, and I take kind of pride in that. And like I sub them out work and stuff, and like because that's what I did when I was 16 years old. Like
you're a good dude, man.
Hey, just grinding.
Thanks for being here and sharing your story with everyone, and even just for hanging out. You've been here at the booth for hours just talking to people.
Oh yeah, now I gotta go make some rounds.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. Enjoy the rest of the show, man.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll see ya.